You're listening to 89 FM, the Radio Rocks, and we are Deep Purple. Thank you very much.
I wanted to start talking about the upcoming show here in São Paulo at Best in Blues and Rock. And this festival blends legends with new artists. How does it feel to be a bridge between generations?
Well, it's a lot of suspension. It's incredible. I spar with all these ideas most of the time, but I don't know, crossing the bridge.
Kids are still listening to rock and roll. It doesn't matter what sort of rock and roll, you know.
Amazing.
It's all related. It's all related to what we did and where we got it from, but it's still rock and roll.
Absolutely.
You can put different names to it. The music is, obviously it evolves, it changes, but it's still very closely related. So I think that's the connection. And the generation we came from, where for kids music was the only thing, not the most important, it was the only thing. Nobody had money, nobody had a car, no computers, no phones. Money, it was nothing. Music was your everything. And I think over the last couple of generations, kids do more things. They have more wealth, they have more toys to play with.
Mm-hmm.
But those bands that are still here from that generation still can teach a lot of the younger musicians what's important. And I don't mean by sitting down and learning, so just by listening and watching. And I think that's the connection for younger musicians. They see something which is, for us, was natural, and for them has to be sort of learned. And the only way you learn is by watching and listening. So that's the connection.
Absolutely. What a great sentence. Do you guys remember your very first show in Brazil? Like, what stands out the most from that occasion?
Loud audience. Very big, loud audience. You know?
Absolutely.
So, there are many countries where the audiences are very vocal. And it's hard to think of another one that beats Brazil. The audience are fantastic. And you remember that. Just remember the great stuff.
What's the main difference between playing festivals like Best of Blues and Rock and doing solo shows from your perspective?
Well, when you're playing a festival, they're not there for you. They're there for the festival. Mm-hmm. So they see a lot of bands all together on the same stage. And when we're doing our own shows, it's our own audience. So it's easier in a way. Mm-hmm. But it's a challenge when you're facing an audience that don't really know who you are. And all you got to do is win their approval, which we usually do, thankfully.
It's funny, actually, because everything's different, and it depends on the historical values. I played with my own band once a whole week in a football stadium in Chechnya. And on the first day, the terraces were filling up with villages. People were coming with their relatives, their children, their dogs, their goats, their chickens, and everything's because they would come home to nothing unless they brought them with them. And they hadn't got a clue who we were, but they thought Jesus Christ was in town, so they better come along and have a look. Superstar. We played a week there. Just amazing, and that was just as much fun as most of the other shows.
Yeah, well, being on the road for this many decades, I want to know, how was each of you changed as musicians over the decades? Like, do you feel a personal growth, that maybe some advice that you would say to your younger selves now that you learn along the way?
Some of them, you can't talk about them.
The thing is, you evolve through life, like with everything else. Music evolves, and it's not just you, it's the influences, the environment around you. I mean, the thing people forget a lot is the technical side of things. And if you look at guitars, for example, and you think of the great technical influences, you look at radio and the transition from valves to the transistor set us free. And then you look at Jim Marshall and you look at things like that changed everything. And it's the same with us. But once the transistors came along, you could take it to the beach or to the street or the park, and then the music responded to that. And it was the same as the pirate radio stations. I mean, that changed everything on the perception of music to the audiences. The staid old boring BBC then tried to do the same thing, but it never was. They called it Radio 1, but it was a joke compared to Radio Caroline, Radio London. So the technical side is very important, and that never stopped. In 82, everything went digital. And for a few years, it went backwards, because the first digital CDs were absolutely disgustingly horrible. I heard Machine Head on a CD about that time, and it had just been transferred from analog to digital. I nearly cried. It was so awful. It was so flat and boring. But we take one step back and two forwards, and that's how life goes. And you meet people. The other thing is musicians get better. You have all the dynamism and skills when you're, very, very young. But as time goes on, you develop those skills, and you mix with other musicians. You develop your performance and your abilities. It's a constantly evolving thing. So yeah, it's changed. The audiences change. They come and go, and they get older. Then the next one comes along, and it's all right.
My next question would be, fun that you mentioned, the adaptation and the rejection, all of that. How do you take care of your mental health, like while being on the road and having this legacy? Is it like a pressure to you guys, or you like just chill right now?
Mental health? No, we just go crazy. That's it. It's fine. It's absolutely fine to be nuts in our business. It's fine. And if I hear someone say mental health one more time, I'm going to kill.
Yeah. Ozzy Osbourne said a great thing. He said, "It's the only job you can go into the recording studio drunk." And they say, "Oh, he's going to be good today."
It's rock and roll, guys. I'm curious. I'm curious. Have you ever thought of telling Deep Purple's story through like series or cinema? Because now it became more popular to tell band stories through movies. And is that something that you wish would happen in the future, or you just like want to keep everything under your roof?
It's been done. Spinal Tap. That's it. That's it. You can't beat that. And it's true. It's all true.
Fine.
Little stories that are related. In fact, even if they're not from one band, they've all got little elements of truth in them. Yeah. If somebody wants to do it, I'm sure it'll be something that we say yes or no to. We would have nothing to do with it. It would be something outside of our control.
It was the best stories I never told in public.
Yeah, great sentence. But I'm not over the Spinal Tap reference. Oh my god. Now, if it's not in, like, if you don't want to make a movie or anything, how would you like to be remembered 100 years from now? Like, what do you want to be Deep Purple's legacy?
I'm still going to be here. I don't see the future in not. I don't know. I don't know if we ever think like that.
No, we don't think that.
I don't want to be remembered.
Who are you?
I want a quiet death. Peaceful eternity.
Amazing.
You just hope if people are still playing this music then, and they enjoy it and say, hey, there's some good stuff there. But apart from that, I don't think you actually think like that. Well, I don't think I do,
I'd like to hear from each of you, like, is there a Deep Purple song that stands out for like a personal reason and you kind of wish you got more recognition?
No.
You don't have a favorite song?
That says a lot, doesn't it?
No, for everybody, I'm sure they've got their own answer to that. But
Yeah.
as you said, a very personal thing, and sometimes it would be of no interest to somebody else. So somebody asks you, what's your favorite Deep Purple song? Well, I say, Depends what mood I'm in on the day. You know, if I wake up happy, it's this sort of a song.
Yeah.
I wake up depressed, it's that sort of a song.
And I know if I really want to annoy him, I tell everyone that Razzle Dazzle's my favourite Deep Purple song.
Because he likes annoying me.
You know, every time you make a new album, you've got one or two tracks. Right now, currently, I think my favourite Deep Purple song of all time is Bit on the Side, which is on the last album. But there again, you know, Smoke on the Water, Highway Star, and all those things were quite nice at the time.
One I like, No One Came, because it's songs of the early days of being in a band. You know, you're so keen, everything together, and you rehearsed, and
There's nobody there.
there's no one there.
My favorite one is the next one. It's always the next one.
I was about to say the best Deep Purple song is always the next one. Guys, now to wrap this up, I have a few interesting numbers here. So, over 100 million records sold worldwide, 23 studios album, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Grammy nomination, 22 world tours. If each of you had to sum up this journey in just one word, what would it be?
Interesting.
What a life.
Yeah.
What a great life.
You know, one of the great things that I like about gold discs is that you get to keep them as opposed to the money. And I think which sometimes never arrives. All of those things, the honors, the awards, and everything else are absolutely fantastic. And for me, and I think probably for everyone else in the band, it's for the fans and the family and the business connections, all those people that behind the scenes who have supported us since we were kids, really. And they've given so much, and they're always unrecognized. But when something like that comes in, you can see the pride, and you can see them really, really happy for us, and I think that's great. That they get to feel that something's been achieved, something tangible, as opposed to the transient idea of a show and a record or day by day stuff. It's a milestone, and it's for them.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Such a pleasure talking to you. Hope you have a great time here in Brazil.
89, a Rádio Rock.